In the Northwest, salmon are important to people. They represent food, jobs, and recreations to millions of people. But what do we know about salmon and their life cycles? What risks do they face? And what can be done to protect them? I'm river reporter Sammy looking for answers about salmon. I'm with Jared Burbage, the ichthyologist. What is that, you may ask? Well, it's a fish scientist. He's going to tell us more about salmon. What type of work did you do on the stream team?
Well, Sammy, the Stream Team is a volunteer organization of kids just like you that plant trees for shade in the streams and take litter out of the streams.
If you were a salmon, what kind of habitat would you want?
Well, if I was a salmon, I would want clean water, lots of gravel in the stream, and shade, and places where I can hide, because salmon need places to hide and get away from predators.
What kind of water would you want?
Well, you definitely want water that was cool and full of oxygen, because salmon, just like humans, need oxygen to breathe, but they get it out of the water. So that's really, really super important.
What would you want at the bottom of your stream?
Well, I would definitely want rocks and gravel, because we need rocks and gravel to spawn, but we also need to eat the bugs and critters that live on the bottom of the stream, and they need rocks and gravel for habitat. So that's really important too.
What would you want on your stream banks?
Well, that's an interesting question, because a lot of times when we think of salmon, we think of the water in the stream, but the habitat on the edge of the stream and on the bank is just as important. So lots of trees for canopy and shade keeps the water cool and provides protection for the fish in the stream.
What would you want to eat if you were a salmon?
Well, it depends on what part of the life cycle we're talking about. If you're a salmon that's in a stream, you're going to eat bugs and critters that live in the stream. But if you're a salmon swimming in the open ocean, you're going to eat other fish and be a predatory fish. So it really depends on what stage of life. They eat all kinds of stuff.
What types of things would you want to avoid?
Well, if I was a salmon, I would probably think just like a human. I would want to avoid grizzly bears or sharks or killer whales from eating me. But I would also want to avoid nets of fishermen or hooks when they're trying to catch me in the streams or out in the ocean.
How can humans help the salmon?
There's lots of things that humans can do to help fish and salmon. First of which is to limit the use of pesticides and herbicides that will eventually find their way into the streams and waterways. Another thing that humans can do, and we talked about this already, is participate in the stream team and remove litter and plant trees to create better habitat.
We're back with Sammy the reporter and Jared Burbage. Now we're going to talk about the life cycle of salmon.
Hey Sammy, well, we're going to look at this picture on the wall that I've drawn about the life cycle of salmon. Okay, so when we talk about the life cycle of salmon, it starts in the stream. Remember when we talked about habitat in the stream?
Yep.
What do the salmon need in the stream in order to lay their eggs? Gravel. So nice gravel, clean water, lots of oxygen in the stream, so the salmon eggs can hatch, and then the little salmons swim in the stream for a little while until they get bigger, and then they migrate to the open ocean. And what did we talk about in the open ocean that they have to avoid? They have to avoid predators like sharks, killer whales, humans, okay? And after 3 or 4 years in the open ocean, the salmon migrate back to their home stream where they lay their eggs and new salmon are hatched. And then what happens to the adult salmon?
So in the end, we can see how salmon are a lot like us. They want clean water, a nice place to live, and plenty of open space. What can you do to keep them safe? Use less chemicals, pick up your pet waste, and volunteer. Every little bit helps.
Oh, if I was a salmon? Them good girls, straight masterpieces. Stylin', wildin', living it up in the city. Got Chuck's on with Saint Laurent. Gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty.
What would you want to eat if you were salmon?
French fries? Popsicles?
Make a dragon wanna retire, man, I'm too hot. Say my name, you know who I am, I'm too hot. And my band bought that money, break it down.
What would you want to eat if you were a salmon?
Girl, sit your hallelujah.
Filet mignon?
Girl, sit your
Oh,
hallelujah.
it's a six. Apologist. That's what it is.
The ichthyologist thing that humans can do is eat more French fries. Well, that's an interesting question. What was the question?
I'm roving reporter Sammy Reed with ichthyologist. I'm Sam.
Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh! Stop. Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some nigga in it. Take a sip, sign the check. Julio, get the stretch. Right to Harlem, Hollywood, Jackson, Mississippi. If we show